see. They might be asleep. Let me share my screen and make sure you can see and hear everything properly.
Sorry, I'm taking my sweet time to get into watching the stream.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just let me know if you have any issues with hearing or seeing anything.
I can hear and
Everything's
see it
good to
just
me.
fine.
Okay. Thanks, Yosh. Let me go ahead and tweet out all of our stuff. Alright, announcements have been made. Cool.
Thanks for setting me up like that.
Listen, you said it. I'm just quoting you, man.
I love how I used it for the event description and you used it for the stream title.
Yes. Listen, we're holding you to that, man.
I'll do it.
Too good of a quote to pass up.
I promise. We're gonna get one. I know you guys are probably like, nope, you're gonna get a bad one. That's the track we're on, but
Well,
I'll turn it into a good ending. You just watch.
I was gonna say, I guess it depends on what you consider a good or bad ending. Hi, Illuma something. Hello, Floor. How are you guys today? I'm actually physically waving. I don't know why I was doing that. Like, you guys can't fucking see me. That was very dumb.
Well, just in case.
Yeah, just in case you happen to be using your omnipresent omnipotent powers to see me, I am waving at you. Hope you guys are doing good today. Thank you for joining us. Ooh. Oh, it didn't look like it was gonna work for a second. Oh, thank you, Flora. I appreciate you waving back to me. I guess we could go ahead and hop into this if you guys are ready. Well, actually, I should say before. I'm gonna put this back on so we don't. Bea, do you remember where we left off? Do you remember what happened last time? It's been a few weeks.
I believe. Okay, so we had gotten the Santa, the I am Santa or whatever ending. That's definitely how it goes. And then we just got to the ending. Did they just get? No, they haven't even gotten back into that room with the 9th door yet. Where we're at, right? They're still. I guess I don't totally remember where we are. Is the moral of the story?
It's okay. It's been a few weeks. I'm not even 100% sure exactly where we left off right myself. So.
I need my notebook. I didn't get my. I don't have my notes.
I think we stopped in the middle of the conversation with Ace.
I think that sounds right. We'll find out pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, Yosh is right. It was definitely the middle of the conversation.
Yeah. Speaking of which. Then it stopped. His arms came down and his head dropped to look straight ahead at Junpei. His face was flat and cold, devoid of any emotion.
Well done, Junpei. As you so correctly deduced, I have the number 9 bracelet. I retrieved it while we were searching for the missing hardware for the Red. I left the room I was supposed to search and headed to the first-class cabin on B deck.
His voice showed no emotion, no sense of remorse or interest. It was almost bored, as though he were reciting an especially dull corporate letter.
My purpose
Hi,
was
Mike.
to obtain the number 9 bracelet. 9 is a potent ally in the nonary game. Adding 9 to any set of numbers won't alter the digital root.
1 plus 9 equals 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1. 2 plus 9 equals 11, 1 plus 1 equals 2, etc.
As you can see, 9 is a very useful number here. With it,
I could see that, Bea.
one can go anywhere, with anyone. It is, I suppose you could say, a game changer. So I made for the first-class cabin to obtain it. In mere moments, I successfully acquired the number 9 bracelet. There was also an unexpected bonus. The knife the 9th man had used. I quickly pocketed both of them and left. I made my way back to where I was expected to be. That's when I ran into Snake. Well, this guy X, actually. I spotted him ahead of me. He was heading for the large hospital room and hadn't noticed me. The man wearing Snake's clothes arrived at door 3. When he stopped, I walked up behind him and called out, "Snake." He turned around. He said nothing. His mouth simply hung half open. He seemed dazed somehow, almost like a man half asleep. Perhaps he had been drugged. It wasn't important. I tend to gloss over little things like that. I was certain that man was Snake. I knew Snake had taken part in the nonary game 9 years ago. Being blind, it made sense that he didn't recognize me immediately upon our first meeting. But why then hadn't Snake said anything to me later? Surely he hadn't forgotten what had happened to him in the nonary game. But not once did he attempt to confront me.
Yeah, Flora, this is some big shit right here.
Did his lack of sight prevent him from fully recognizing who I was? Or perhaps Snake had conspired with Zero to deceive me. Regardless, he was a threat, and it was better to deal with him sooner rather than later. I had to get rid of him before he took action. With quick thinking, my plan went into motion and I held the number 9 bracelet over the red. I waved my own bracelet in front of the red, and then grabbed Snake's arm and shoved his hand against the scanner panel. The door opened. I threw the man through it. 9 seconds later, the door shut. 81 seconds passed.
The man inside the door passed away.
After that, I returned to my post as though nothing had happened. After conducting my own search, I returned to the large hospital room when the 1 a.m. bell rang.
Ace's eyes were cold, and his cheeks were hollow and pallid. When he spoke, only his lips and tongue moved. The rest of his face was eerily still. Junpei glared at Ace. He took a deep breath and thought about the next question he had to ask. He didn't want to. He knew what the answer would be. He just didn't want to hear it. Junpei swallowed, then spoke.
Ace, did you kill Clover?
Yes.
Why? Why did you kill her?
She was Snake's sister. It was possible he had told her something dangerous. Additionally, she had gone through door 1. It seemed likely she might have found it.
Found what?
Why don't you go through door 1 yourself? Perhaps it's hidden somewhere.
Seven and Lotus interrupted.
Yeah, but Lotus and I went through door 1 too.
We didn't see anything suspicious.
Yes. I thought as much after I heard your report at the central stairs. I doubt the two of you could find it.
Hmm?
Huh?
But perhaps Clover was different. Perhaps she had found it. I was, therefore, desperate to find her. And at last I did, in the first-class cabin. I spoke very calmly. Did you see it?
See what?
Don't act as if you don't understand. You were in the captain's quarters, weren't you?
Uh-huh. What are you talking about?
Very well. By the way, what are you doing here, Clover?
What? Nothing.
There's blood on your shoes. It looks fresh. Did you go take a look at the 9th man's corpse? I see. Your silence suggests that you noticed. You saw something, didn't you? You saw that his bracelet was gone.
No!
Clover ran. She made for the exit, but Ace stood in her way.
You aren't going anywhere.
He caught her by the collar as she passed and threw her to the floor, hard.
You're staying here.
No!
She leapt back up and darted past him into the hallway. Ace followed at a run.
Don't you run, little girl.
He was faster.
That was how I killed Clover.
His face hadn't changed. If he felt guilt or remorse, or anything one might feel after taking the life of another human being, it didn't show.
You son of a bitch!
Seven's whole body trembled with rage, and his voice rumbled with hate. Santa's eyes were bloodthirsty, and Lotus and June's faces were distorted by anger and hatred. Ace looked at them and smiled. It was a cold, cruel thing with no humor in it. He shook his head and sighed.
I admit it. I've lost. I have lost. Completely and utterly. Don't misunderstand, Junpei. I didn't lose to you. I lost to Zero. Not you. I'm rather disgusted with myself for falling into such a simple trap. I looked the fool. And it was a trap. Make no mistake. I was trapped and manipulated by Zero. The man I killed in the shower room? If he wasn't Snake, then I have no idea who he was. But he was wearing Snake's clothes. And that was no coincidence. He had also been injected with something that reduced his cognition and prevented him from identifying himself or resisting me. And we can't forget the components that were removed from the Red before we arrived. I have no doubt that Zero planned all of this. Zero made sure I would kill that man. It follows, of course, that Zero knew everything I would do. That I would try to take the number 9 bracelet. That I would try to kill Snake. Everything.
Suddenly, Junpei remembered the paper he'd found in the safe. He remembered the last words Zero had written on it. I must punish them for the innocent lives they sacrificed. This is the only warning they will receive. That innocent souls might be saved, I now state the truth. Zero. And he remembered other words he'd heard from Clover.
I think Zero is one of us.
Huh?
One by one, Junpei looked at the 5 people standing in front of him. Ace, Santa, June, Seven, Lotus.
Zero is one of us? No. Wait, there's one more person. Snake. The man who died in the shower room isn't Snake. That means he's almost certainly still alive. Maybe Snake is Zero. Maybe he made Guy X wear his clothes so that we'd all think he was dead.
Floor.
Where's Snake now? What if he's off somewhere laughing at us? If he is Zero, he must have been lying to us about everything else. Is he watching us?
Well, I believe I've finished with my confession. Why don't we get moving?
Yeah, it was totally Clover's fault, Floor. He sounded as if he just finished doing nothing more exciting than describing the weather. For Santa, it was the last straw.
What the hell is this shit? You aren't going anywhere, you son of a bitch! We're gonna leave your ass here to rot!
Why? Because I killed Clover? That's ridiculous. Why are you so upset that I killed the little bitch? She was nothing to you. A stranger you only met a few hours ago. Am I wrong?
You bastard!
Seven roared and lifted a fist that would likely have shattered Ace's jaw. But someone else was faster. It was Lotus. She stepped toward Ace, raised a fist of her own, and drove it straight into his nose.
Blindsiding me with a punch, huh? You've got some fire, don't you? I confess, I rather like a tough woman.
He sniffed and wiped a small trickle of blood from his nose with a raised eyebrow.
Well, maybe you'd like another one then.
Before that, let me give you one of my own.
Huh?
Lotus scarcely had time to blink. Ace snaked his arm around her and pulled Lotus's back up against him. In the same motion, he reached into his coat pocket. It was a gun. The revolver. Almost lazily, he tilted it to point at Lotus's head.
If any of you so much as blink, I won't hesitate to pull this trigger. I've already killed 3 people. Don't think I'm not ready to make it 4.
3 people? What do you mean?
Very well. Let me take this opportunity to illuminate you. The person who killed the ninth man was me. Although I suppose to be more accurate, I encouraged him to get himself killed. While we were examining the main staircase, he came to me and told me his name. I recognized it at once. So I gave him a little push. Just a little white lie. It seems the settings for the dead were altered. Now it only requires a single person to deactivate the detonator in the bracelet. Investigate what's beyond door 5. We'll meet again later. And with that...
Okay. Have a good one, guys. I'm going off ahead now. Well then.
Why is it stopping? God damn it! You lied! Open the door, please! I'm begging you! Help me! Please get me out of here! Get me out of here! Oh my god, oh my god! There's no time left! Listen! I was lied to! He lied to me! He put me in here! It was him! He killed me! It was him! Ah!
I had 4 reasons for killing him. As I said before, in the nonary game, the number 9 bracelet is of utmost importance. If I had allowed him to keep such a useful tool, he, or it, would have become a threat to me. As such, I decided that he should be eliminated early on. I wanted the number 9 bracelet. If I could manage to obtain it, I would be able to manipulate the game as I saw fit. I would be unable to acquire the bracelet unless its owner was dead. That's the second reason. Even setting aside his number, he would have been nothing but trouble for me. He was aware of my past. He knew what happened here 9 years ago. It was important that I eliminate him before he was able to disseminate this information. Lastly, I wished to conduct a simple test. A test to see if this nonary game was serious, or a poor attempt at a joke. I needed to be quite sure. As such, I encouraged him to act against the rules so that I might observe the outcome.
Junpei glared at him.
I don't get your third motive. What the hell happened 9 years ago?
Didn't I say? The nonary game was played. I planned it out, and I conducted its execution.
Why? What on earth was it supposed to do?
I don't really think I have any obligation to tell you that.
Ace smirked. He was trying to provoke them, and it was working. Although Ace had paid very little attention to Lotus after catching her, the gun had never wavered from her temple. She looked quite pale, and when she spoke, her voice shook.
Hey, what's with this gun? Where did he get this?
Why don't you tell her, Santa?
Santa ground his teeth and glared at Ace.
On the other side of door 6, we found the gun in the coffin in the cargo room, right? The bastard must have grabbed it when we weren't looking.
Indeed I did. That was a pretty serious mistake, you know. Just saying you intended to leave it behind.
Ace laughed, a short, derisive snort, and gave Junpei a sickeningly pitying look.
Well, there isn't much time left. I'll be off then.
Well, where are you going?
Do I really need to explain? I had assumed it would be obvious. I have the number 9 bracelet, and now I have Lotus.
9 plus 8 plus 1 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
Wasn't there a door with a 9 on it in the room that looked like a church? That's where you're going, isn't it?
And how do you know that?
Santa told me about it while we were looking for Clover.
I see. Well, you are correct. That is my destination. But now I must say goodbye to all of you. Ah, and please, don't forget my warning. Move and I'll pull the trigger. I don't need her alive to open the door, you know.
As he spoke, Ace began backing toward the door, practically dragging Lotus behind him.
Shit! He's getting away!
But we can't risk it.
Junpei, Santa, June, and Seven stood, frozen. Ace had the face of a man gone mad. They had no doubt he would pull the trigger. Ace had reached the exit.
Now, Lotus, open the door for me if you would.
He forced Lotus to open it, then turned and addressed them once more.
Goodbye.
Then he stepped through the door. It fell shut. In the blink of an eye, they were gone.
Damn it!
As soon as Ace and Lotus were gone, Junpei and the others left for the door in pursuit of Ace. But as Junpei laid his hand on the doorknob, there was a noise behind him. He looked over his shoulder. June was kneeling on the floor, breathing heavily.
Hey, June, what happened? Are you all right?
Santa ran to June and wrapped his arm around her before she could collapse all the way.
Jesus, you're burning up. Your fever's back. Are you okay?
June's fever had returned, again for no apparent reason. Her eyes were watery and her eyelids drooped. Her breath came in dry, shallow gasps.
I'm okay. Really, I'm fine. You should be worrying about Lotus.
She was breathing hard now, and she could barely summon the strength to talk.
But...
Junpei was torn. He couldn't leave June alone in the state she was in. But every moment they waited, Ace was farther away, Lotus's life in his hands. What was Junpei supposed to do? June's eyes drifted to Junpei's. She managed to muster a weak smile.
Jumpy, don't worry about me. I just need a little rest. I'll be fine. Don't you remember? I just needed to rest a little bit last time. So please, please save Lotus.
Think about what Ace has already done, Junpei. When he's got what he needs from Lotus, you really think he's just gonna let her walk away?
Damn it. You guys go on ahead. Soon as June starts feeling better, we'll follow you. Go!
Junpei looked at June. She nodded once. She couldn't manage much more. But it was all the confirmation Junpei needed. His resolve was set.
All right. Come on, Seven. We're going after Ace.
Hell yeah!
Santa, you take good care of June. I'm trusting you. Got it.
Santa nodded. Junpei turned before he had a chance to change his mind and started running toward the door. He could hear Seven's heavy footsteps behind him.
Let's go!
Junpei and Seven exploded into the hallway, their feet pounding the metal floor as they ran. Junpei and Seven had finally arrived at the church, exhausted and out of breath. As their lungs struggled to catch their breath, their eyes frantically scanned the room.
Where are they?
I don't see them.
You think they already went through?
He reached up to wipe a palm full of sweat from his brow.
Maybe.
Even as he spoke, Junpei was already on his way to the larger of the number 9 doors.
Let's check the red.
The display panel read vacant. He spun around and headed towards the smaller door. This read would tell him if Ace and Lotus had moved to another room.
Engaged. It's occupied.
That means Ace and Lotus went through here.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Junpei and Seven stepped away from the door. They retreated to the center of the room and began to talk.
What do we do now?
Yeah, what should we do? Well, the big door is still vacant, but...
The two of us can't do anything with it.
Yeah, not even counting how our digital route isn't 9.
Just then, as they were pondering what to do next, there was a noise. A noise like someone hitting a thick wooden panel.
What's that sound?
Junpei looked up, surprised. Seven followed suit, his eyes jumping around the room, looking for the source of the sound.
It's coming from over there.
It wasn't long before they found the altar, or more precisely, what was on it.
The coffin.
Yeah.
Let's open it.
How?
By force!
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, you never know till you try, right? The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures.
Who said that?
I forget. Anyway, we've got to try.
Junpei and Seven leapt at the coffin. They grabbed hold of what purchase they could find and pulled.
Damn it!
See? Didn't I tell you? If you could just pull it open, why would it have something like that?
Seven pointed at a keypad on the side of the coffin.
Right. So unless I put in the right passcode, it's not gonna open.
The noise hadn't stopped. In fact, as it continued, it had only gotten louder and more forceful. What were they supposed to do, Junpei wondered.
Was there some sort of clue somewhere?
They stood there for a few moments, staring at the coffin, and then Seven spoke.
Hey, Junpei. I remember you mumbling about some weird numbers over by the bathroom in the first-class cabin. You got those numbers by solving the secret message Clover was holding, right? Truth had gone, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. What about it?
Well, maybe that number's the passcode for this thing, too.
Come on, that's impossible. Those numbers were the code to unlock that safe.
Yeah, but the person who set up that safe in this coffin is the same person, right? Zero set up both of these.
Yeah, probably.
Well, then they might have set the same passcode for both of them.
That's ridiculous.
Why don't you just try it? I mean, it's not like you'll make things any worse.
It'd just be a waste of time. There's no way they're the same number.
How do you know that? You never know until you try. The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures.
Who said that?
You.
Fine.
He knelt down in front of the keypad and looked at it. Perhaps because
I don't know why he's so mad. Like, he's like, oh, this is not gonna work. And he's like, just try it. And he's like, no. It's like, just try it. It doesn't matter.
Junpei's a stubborn little bitch sometimes. Over
I mean, who
random
would ever use the same password for 2 different sites? I would never do that.
No, totally not.
It would be so unsafe and easy to crack.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, time to log into my Facebook. Perhaps because he'd repeated them so many times before, the numbers came easily to Junpei's mind.
1438-3421.
Quickly, he typed them in.
Oh, that was the numbers that showed up on their bracelets too when they pressed the buttons.
Yeah.
He checked that he'd entered the right numbers, took a deep breath, and pressed the E button. It only took a moment.
What? You gotta be kidding me.
There was a click. And with a heavy clunk, the lid of the coffin slid off onto the floor. Someone sat up from inside.
Yes! Vindication!
Those voices. Junpei and Seven, unless I'm mistaken. Where are the others? Are they elsewhere?
Of course, there was no reason Snake would have known anything about where anyone else would be. Junpei and Seven looked at one another.
Because he's blind.
There was a great
the game is always like, it's just like, oh, but Snake wouldn't know anything about that, right? It's like, we know he's blind.
To be fair, he also
telling us every time we see him.
To be fair, he's also presumably been in a coffin for the last, 3 hours, so...
Fair enough.
That would also be the other reason why he wouldn't know where anyone is.
Fair enough.
Junpei and Seven looked at one another. There was a great deal he needed to know, but... They had to tell him something, however, so they began to talk. Snake explained to them how he came to be locked in the coffin. Apparently, he'd been hit with some sort of knockout gas, and Junpei and Seven explained what had happened to the rest of them.
I see. I believe I got the gist of everything. Have I been sufficiently caught up?
No, there was one thing they kept from him. There was one thing, however, that neither Seven nor Junpei could bring themselves to say. That Ace had killed Clover. They feared that if Snake knew, he might well go insane.
Yeah.
They decided as much by a look the moment Snake had climbed out of the coffin.
But that still doesn't explain why you were trapped in here.
We've still got no clue about Zero's true identity, let alone why the hell he's doing all this.
At least he doesn't have to do the blink blink thing to get used to the light in the room after being in the coffin. True that, Floor.
Oh
Why did he
my
put Guy
God.
X in Snake's clothes? Is all this stuff somehow related to that nonary game that was played 9 years ago?
Hey, Snake, do you know anything?
Just anything. Anything at all. Junpei put the question to Snake. His answer was less than illuminating.
What are you talking about? I apologize, but I have no idea what you're saying.
It seemed as though Snake was perhaps not being entirely honest, but that knowledge did Junpei and Seven little good.
Oh, come on, just tell us if you know.
I don't know what to tell you. How can I know something I don't?
No matter how many times they asked, he insisted that he knew nothing. It was becoming clear that Snake wouldn't give in, and every second they spent asking him was a second wasted.
This is bad. We're running out of time.
We need to go after Ace.
However, they stood in silence, the overpowering atmosphere of the chapel almost stifling. Junpei, Seven, and Snake simply stood, at a loss for what they should do next.
What do we do now?
He glanced over at Snake's wrist. Sure enough, he could see the 2 on the bracelet on Snake's wrist.
The 3 of us can't make a digital route of 9.
Yeah, we just get 5.
We're stuck here then.
Oh. Hey, I just remembered something.
Seven began patting his pockets as if he were checking to see if any of them...
Oh no.
What? What is it?
I found something earlier.
What did you find?
This.
He'd finally found the pocket he wanted, and his hand dove into it. Seven pulled out something round and metal. A bracelet.
Oh.
There was no mistaking the number glowing at them from the face like a cartoon eye.
Zero. Zero's bracelet.
What did you say? Are you saying that 7 has the number 0 bracelet?
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Snake's question was innocent enough, but if he learned the truth, if he'd been able to see, he would have noticed Seven look away.
Clover gave it to me.
She did?
Yeah.
How did she come by it?
Well, she found it. See, on the other side of door 1, A deck, in the captain's quarters. She asked me to hold on to it because it was too big and bulky for her to be lugging around.
He's lying.
Junpei could tell right away that Seven wasn't telling the truth.
He even told us earlier.
I haven't actually looked at it yet. Didn't want to disturb the crime scene, you know? Basic stuff. Well, I did borrow one thing.
He probably said that so Snake doesn't find out about Clover.
Good job, Junpei. That was A+ detective work.
Been nice knowing you.
Wait, what?
7 + 2 + 0 = 9.
Come on, man, I'm just kidding. Still, just in case, I want to make sure the 0 bracelet gets picked up by the red. Snake, give me a hand, alright?
Without waiting for a response, he started walking toward the door. Junpei and Snake followed him quietly. Before long, they found themselves in front of the larger of the 2 doors. Seven and Snake put their palms on the red. Once they'd done that, Seven put the number 0 bracelet on the scanner panel as well. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. 7 + 2 + 0 = 9. Now they just needed to pull the lever and the door would open.
Huh? Why isn't it opening?
Well, the third asterisk lit up, so it must have registered the 0 bracelet.
Maybe it isn't actually 0.
Huh?
What?
That bracelet may not actually produce the number 0 when scanned. That is what I'm saying. Why don't we try a few different combinations? Perhaps we can determine what number that bracelet actually contains.
Oh, got it!
Junpei nodded. They decided to use the following combination. Which one would you like to try first, Bea?
Let's try all 4 of them.
Okay. So that would be 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus whatever.
Yeah,
Let's
because I
try
have
all
a
3 of
feeling
us
it's
and the
probably
bracelets.
actually Clover's bracelet.
Snake plus Junpei plus 7, 2 plus 5 plus 7 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5.
If this combination works, then the number for this bracelet is 4.
It didn't open.
Never mind.
Then this bracelet is not 4. Then
Junpei continued. Okay, what would you like to try next?
I guess let's just try the first one then, because it's we're
Let's try
basically
Snake,
just
me, and the
forcing
bracelet.
it.
Snake plus Junpei equals 2 plus 5 equals 7.
if this combination works, then the number for this bracelet is 2.
The door didn't open. The mysterious bracelet wasn't 2.
It didn't open.
Guess it's not 2.
Then
Junpei continued.
Okay, yeah, then the last
let's
one.
try me, 7, and the bracelet.
I'm
Junpei
glad you're
plus-
choosing options that really shows all the voice acting in the game. I really appreciate that.
5 plus 7 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3.
If this combination works, then the number for this bracelet is 6.
They scanned in their bracelets.
Missile, what are you doing here?
It opened.
Yes, so it would seem.
7 clearly hadn't thought their experimentation would produce anything useful and looked rather confused. Snake was, as usual, calm and smug. The door slid closed. Junpei's forehead furrowed as he thought.
That means the bracelet is actually 6.
5 plus 7 plus 6 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
But how is that possible? The display on the bracelet clearly shows a 0.
Yes, the dog bark was in Bea's background floor. It wasn't part of the game, or in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
He's
So-
barking at children playing across the street.
Sometimes a dog's gotta bark, man. What are you gonna do? Stop him?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
Yost
Yes.
bringing down the doggy Bannerhammer over here.
Look, he barks the least when we stream, and you know how often he barks when we're streaming.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
and it's not like he's a little dog, you know.
Mhm.
He's big, and his barks are very loud, and so it's very
Yes.
startling.
Just never press the stop screaming button.
Just never stop streaming.
Floor says, "Okay, I was just away from my laptop, and the cat jumped up from it, so
Oh,
scared the kitty."
I'm sorry, Floor's cat.
Whoopsie. Suddenly, from somewhere far beneath them, they heard the creaking groan of tearing metal. He's managing to scare a cat halfway across the world. That's pretty impressive. Not many dogs can say that. With it came the sound of water pouring into parts of the ship that had, until recently, been dry.
Oh man, that's not good. I guess our time's just about up, huh?
At any rate, we know now that the door can be opened. Let's go! But, Snake, are you sure?
Yeah. You know that only Junpei and I can go through this way.
You needn't worry. I have a solution to this problem. My last resort. But if now is not the time for last resorts, then when? Last?
Resort?
Junpei, 7, and Snake ran full tilt down a long, straight hallway. They were headed for the stern of the ship and had no time for distractions. As they ran, 7 spoke.
Gotta admit, you really surprised me there, kid. I couldn't figure out how the hell you were gonna get out of that one. How come you didn't do that right off the bat?
As I told you, it was a last resort. Had I used it at the beginning of the game, I would have come under a great deal of suspicion. I imagine that most people would have taken it to mean that I was Zero. Once they'd convinced themselves of that, I wasn't optimistic about my chances of making it out of here alive, let alone unscathed. I felt it best to play my cards close to the chest, as it were. That way, if I were in a situation where there was nothing else I could do, I'd have a little trick up my sleeve. I'd just take my bracelet off.
Snake's plan had been simple but effective. He'd simply removed his bracelet. How? To Junpei, it had looked as though Snake had simply crushed the bones of his hand until they were small enough to fit through the wristband. Of course, that would have been practically impossible, so how had he done it?
My brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's not a real arm.
Snake had slid the bracelet off and tossed it into the coffin.
I know this is kind of a weird thing to say, but I'm glad that's the fake arm.
Don't have to be afraid of the door if you don't got a bracelet.
You are correct.
He'd walked through the door easily without authenticating. He stepped out the other side unscathed and began running down the hall alongside Seven and Junpei. They kept running for a while longer and eventually came upon a set of stairs leading downward to the right side of the hallway. They stopped and peered down the staircase.
I think these stairs connect to the bottom deck.
Doesn't look like it's underwater.
They nodded quickly to one another and jogged down the stairs. It took only a few moments to make their way to the bottom deck. There was a single hallway in front of them, at the end of which was a single door.
Let's go through that door.
Junpei threw it open. Inside was a massive iron gate. A plate was affixed to the top of it. It read Incinerator.
Incinerator?
Oh my. That doesn't sound very pleasant. Do you see a lever near the gate, perhaps?
Yeah, right over here.
How did you know that?
Well, I'd be happy to regale you with the story. I imagine it should only take half a day or so.
Junpei grumbled, gave Snake a dirty look, and jogged over to the lever.
If you pull it, the door ought to open.
Got it.
He pulled the lever down. With the rumble of an ancient motor, the door opened. There was no need to
Don't think I don't see the incinerator sign above the door.
Yep. There was no need to hold back and no time to hesitate. They pushed their way inside.
I mean, Junpei did mention the sign to Snake just now.
Standing in front of them were Ace and Lotus. Ace still held the revolver in his hand. It was still pressed hard against Lotus's temple. A small dark bruise had begun to form near the tip. Even from several yards away, Junpei could see that Lotus was shaking. She was terrified. But perhaps more interesting was what Junpei saw behind them. 9. Another number 9 door.
What? Why? Why is there another one?
The door
I
stopped.
mean, it's in the title, there's 3 9s.
The door stopped Junpei in his tracks. It simply shouldn't have been there. As his brain finally began to consider why, the whine of a warning klaxon filled the air, drowning out any thought.
Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 9 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately.
Oh my, how exciting. You've run quite a show here, Zero.
A terrifying smile twisted Ace's face.
What's the matter? Too frightened to understand? Here, let me explain.
It's said that the incineration system is about to activate. In 9 minutes, this room will be engulfed in flame.
Who are you?
You don't recognize me? I'm hurt. It's me, Snake.
Snake? Oh, yes. You are alive. I'm afraid your bizarre style had me confused. I'm quite glad to see that you're alive.
Ace's voice didn't change. Snake ground his teeth.
If you don't mind my asking, how did you get here? Snake, Junpei, 7. The 3 of you couldn't have opened a door with a 9. Did you use Clover's bracelet, perhaps?
What?
2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 4 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
Ah, well, your reaction suggests that you did not.
Hold on. Why did you think we'd have Clover's bracelet?
Junpei felt his chest tighten.
Oh, They haven't told you?
Told me what?
Clearly not. Normally, I would take some time and enjoy the moment. But I'm afraid my time is at a premium just now. I'll have to make this quick. Clover.
Don't do it, Ace! Keep your goddamn mouth shut!
Clover.
I said stop it! Don't listen to him, Snake.
Junpei could feel his voice going hoarse, but Snake didn't listen to him.
What happened to Clover?
Ace looked at him. The corner of his mouth curled into the hook of a cruel smile.
Clover died.
The color left Snake's face. He shook his head weakly.
No, that's not true. That's impossible. It's a lie. It has to be a lie.
Oh, it's quite true. I can assure you of that. I killed her myself, you see.
What?
I'm sorry, did I stutter? I killed.
Snake's face twisted into a mask of rage, mottled red rising to dot his pale skin. His entire body shook. He looked to Junpei, disturbingly like a demon.
I would have rather she died with less suffering. A bullet in her brain, perhaps, would have been ideal. Unfortunately, that would have made quite a bit of noise. Circumstances being what they were, I was forced to settle for the knife. The one the ninth man had, you remember. I believe I caught her just below the shoulder blade. I was rather lucky, in fact. My first thrust went right between her ribs. Her flesh was so soft. My knife slid in so easily. There was no resistance. That feeling.
Why is he talking about this like a weird
I
pervert?
confess, I feel rather excited. It is a powerful memory.
Probably because he is one.
Someday, perhaps, I hope I can feel it again.
Incineration will begin in 7 minutes.
I'm going to kill you.
Snake's words were a guttural growl, barely audible.
What was that?
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Ah, so you're going to kill me. Please do. Come now. I'm waiting.
Don't do it! Don't listen to him, Snake!
Stop it, kid. He's screwing with your head.
Is there a problem? What are you waiting for, boy? Don't you want me to send you to join your sister?
Don't! The Snake!
Don't do it!
But Snake could no longer hear them. Snake could no longer hear anything. Snake moved like a bolt of lightning. His scream echoed through the incineration chamber, full of rage and despair.
Snake! Snake!
Another scream filled the room. It was Lotus. She ran across the room toward Junpei, her eyes wide with terror.
Lotus! Hurry! This way!
Snake's ill-fated attack had loosened Ace's grip on her, and she'd made a run for it. She reached Seven and Junpei and ducked behind them.
Incineration will begin in 5 minutes.
Give me the woman.
He raised the gun.
I need her. Without her bracelet, I will be unable to open this door.
1 + 8 + 9 = 18. 1 + 8 = 9.
Quickly now! I don't have time for your shenanigans.
In the center of the room, Snake's body lay eerily still. He looked like a human larva, prone and vulnerable on the floor.
I see. Then it would seem I have no choice. The rest of you must die as well. Fortunately, I have 5 bullets left. 1 for Junpei, another for Lotus, and the last 3 for that lump of idiotic man you call Seven. I will take Lotus's body with me and leave this room.
Incineration will begin in 4 minutes.
Well, it looks as though our time together is at an end. I rather enjoyed playing with you.
Damn it!
Junpei could see Ace's finger tighten. He could see it begin to squeeze down on the trigger. His body tensed, preparing for the catastrophic impact of hot lead against human flesh.
Goodbye.
Then it happened.
Kill you.
Snake stood up.
What? No, that's impossible.
For the first time, Ace's composure broke. With obvious effort, Snake lunged forward, one step closer to Ace. Then another.
That's twice now that Talison's played, or 3 times now that Talison's played a character that just can't be killed.
Yup. He looked for all the world like a zombie.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
His voice was the mournful wailing of the undead.
Stay away from me. Get back. Stop. If you come any closer, I'll... Get away from me.
Little by little, Ace was retreating. Snake didn't stop. He continued his stiff, inexorable approach, his eyes twin pools of pure fury.
Listen to me. I said don't come any closer. Shit. You bastard.
Ace's revolver leapt 5 times. 5 times, the air in the incinerator was split by the crack of a bullet. Snake's body twitched as 5 clouds of blood and torn flesh leapt into the air across his body. A fine pink mist drifted from his body and disappeared. Junpei didn't have time to ponder what that meant before. And then his strength was gone. His legs crumbled and his broken and battered body slid to the floor.
Incineration will begin in 3 minutes.
Finally. You're...
But Snake wasn't done.
I'll kill you.
Even as the pool of blood beneath him grew, he began to move. He half crawled, half slid toward Ace. One bloody arm wrapped itself around Ace's leg.
You won't get away.
And the other gripped his thigh with strength that should have been long gone.
You son of a bitch! You're a monster! Get off me! Let me go, damn you!
He kicked at Snake with his free leg, driving his foot into Snake's face, his arm, his shoulder. It made no difference. Snake refused to release him. Once a snake has ensnared its prey, rarely does it release it.
This is it, Ace. We're going to burn to death together.
What?
Incineration will begin in 2 minutes.
Yeah, damn it! Damn you! Get off! Let me go, you monster! Okay, look. Think about it this way. My company owns a wonderful hospital. It has excellent doctors. You're not wounded too seriously. I'm sure they can fix you up easily. You don't have to die. You could be saved. Just let me go.
Pathetic. Begging for your life.
Then Seven and Lotus began to speak. Junpei could hear tears in their voices, and their words were strained.
Snake, that's enough! You can stop now!
Yes! He's right, Snake! You've done enough!
Come on, Snake, let's go! Let's get out of here!
You have to come with us! We have to leave together!
Snake turned toward them. He coughed, and blood splattered across the floor. Then he smiled a sad sort of smile.
I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't do that. You'd best forget about me. You need to leave soon. I'm going to take him with me.
Shut up! Be quiet!
I couldn't save Clover. My sister died because of me. Perhaps this will begin to atone for that. Perhaps in the afterlife, she can forgive me. Now go. Go now. You have to go.
Incineration will begin in 1 minute.
God damn it! Shit! We're out of time! We gotta go!
Seven ran toward the exit. Lotus followed him. But Junpei couldn't move. There were white lines down Snake's cheeks where his tears had washed the blood away. He was broken, body and soul, and Junpei felt as though half of his own heart had been torn out. His eyes stung, and he tried desperately to swallow to clear the lump in his throat.
Junpei, what are you doing? You have to get out of here now!
Junpei's chest tightened, pulled taut by anger, misery, and a cold feeling of emptiness. Pure emotion surged through his heart alongside the torrent of blood. He could feel it building, a tremendous wave growing taller and taller and taller. And then it broke, crashing down with thunderous force onto his shaken, unprepared mind.
Snake! Snake!
Junpei's rational mind was gone. He was driven by instinct now, and he launched himself across the floor at Snake and Ace. Or he tried to.
Wait! Don't be an idiot, Junpei!
He felt a hand grab him from behind. It was Seven. Before he had time to react, the larger man had pinned Junpei's arms to his sides and was hauling him bodily back towards the door.
No! No! I have to help Snake! 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 Get off of me! Let me go!
Huh, I don't know, Flora. That's a good question.
Incineration will begin in 10 seconds. 7, 6.
Damn it, I don't get a choice, kid! Don't blame me for this, alright?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Gates 2 and 3 are locked down, beginning incineration.
Junpei felt Seven's fist bury itself deep in his stomach, and then his legs turned to mush. Seven scooped him up in the same motion and leapt through the door. It slammed shut behind them. Junpei struggled to shaky feet. He glanced over to see Lotus only a short distance away. Junpei ran to the door.
He's...
There was a small window cut into it. Inside, he could see Ace and Snake.
Shit! Damn you all! Why? Why? Why me? I don't deserve this! Answer me! Answer me, Zero! Why? Why? Zero! Zero! Zero!
I hate this game.
He didn't know how much time passed. He didn't know how long he stood there in front of the incinerator. He looked to the side. Lotus's face was ashen, and if not for the hand she'd put against the wall, Junpei didn't think she could have stood. Seven looked old and tired and used. His eyes stared at the floor, seeing nothing. Junpei said nothing. He simply began to walk toward the open door and the hallway they'd come down earlier.
Hey, wait! Junpei!
Junpei, where are you going?
He blinked when their voices broke the silence. He stopped.
You stay here. I'll go get Santa and June.
You're gonna bring them here?
How?
Don't worry about that. Just stay here and wait, all right?
He began to walk again. He looked over his shoulder and watched Seven and Lotus grow smaller and smaller. They stared back, not moving. He wasn't sure if they could. He turned around again. He knew where he was going.
I saw an elevator on the way here. If I can get it to work, then maybe...
Before long, Junpei found himself in front of the elevator. Next to the door was a button with a triangle on it.
Please work.
He pushed it, and the door opened.
Yes.
Junpei was in the large hospital room.
June! Santa!
He kept calling and walked to the center of the room. But try as he might, he couldn't find them.
Damn it. Where did they go?
Increasingly frustrated and increasingly worried, Junpei left the large hospital room. He had no choice. He would have to look for them. Junpei's heart was heavy. He couldn't shake the feeling, but there was part of him that felt it would be wrong to, even if he could. With With every step he took, his legs felt more and more like lead. Sometime later, Junpei found himself at the chapel. He stepped inside, expecting to find nothing, but there, on the red carpet in the center of the room, June. No, codenames didn't matter any longer. She was Connie.
Connie!
Junpei cried her name and ran. Like lightning, he ran across the room toward her.
Connie!
He stumbled to a stop. As he looked down at her body, lying so still on the floor, he felt the icy grip of fear upon his heart. She was still, so very still.
No. It can't be. It's impossible.
Slowly, Junpei bent down toward her. His hands shook, and he felt very cold and very hot at the same time. He forced himself to look. Her back was moving. Slowly, it rose and fell. Relief washed over him.
Oh, Connie!
Junpei reached down and gently, very gently lifted her up.
Connie, are you all right?
Jumpy?
Her face was pale, and her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes were blank and cloudy. They stared straight at Junpei but saw nothing. Trembling, Junpei wrapped his arm around her back. She was cold, very cold. Junpei tried to convince himself that it was only his imagination, but she felt as though she were fading away. He could feel his heart pounding frantically in his chest.
Oh man. Connie, what the hell happened to you? You feel...
Jumpy.
Her voice was very faint.
I might not make it.
No way I am going to let you die. I am going to save you, I promise.
Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much for everything. I was really happy to see you again, Jumpy. Really happy.
Oh, don't give me that I was crap. You're gonna see me again lots more times. You just gotta hang on. All right, Connie?
Jumpy, did you know you meant a lot to me when we were kids? I've liked you for a long time, Junpei. A really long time.
Junpei's vision had gone blurry. It took him a moment to realize his eyes were filled with tears. He could feel a piercing point of heat deep in his heart like a white-hot flame. He looked down at Akane. There was a crack of static from above his head, and a voice spoke.
Zero. You son of a bitch! Where are you hiding?
Junpei frantically scanned the ceiling for the source of the voice.
What the hell are you talking about? No, it hasn't. I'm not gonna let it end yet. I'm gonna get out of here with Connie. Why?
Because you chose the wrong path.
The wrong path?
That is correct. Your path is invariable, however. Admit defeat. Where there is shadow, there is light. Where there is the absence of light, there is no shadow. So it goes.
What are you talking about?
I is not. The loser has been decided.
I told you! I am not gonna lose!
No, you misunderstand. You have lost. I have lost.
What?
Junpei didn't have time to ponder what that meant before he heard the door slam shut behind him. He spun around. There was no one there. Was it Zero?
Connie, wait here. I'll be right back, I promise.
She managed a single nod. Junpei laid her back down gently and leapt for the door. He yanked it open and shot outside. No one. The hall was empty. There was nothing moving anywhere.
Damn it. Where are you? It doesn't matter. I need to get Connie out first.
He didn't want to leave Connie alone any longer than he had to, so Junpei turned around and headed back to the chapel.
Connie!
She wasn't there. She wasn't anywhere. She'd been lying there on the floor just moments before, and now she was gone.
Oh God. No. No. Where is she? Connie. Connie! Connie! Connie!
His cries split the heavens themselves. He screamed until his voice gave out. Then he screamed some more. But there was nothing. No answer. His voice faded away, and all that remained was cold, unfeeling silence. That was when he noticed it.
Huh?
Strange smell. One he'd smelled before.
Wait. This is...
white smoke.
9 seconds later, Junpei's mind winked out.
Congrats, you got an ending.
I hate this game. Of course it's not the end of the game. Ah! What the heck?
We got an achievement. Chance of loss is not 0. Since I skipped this last time, I will just let this play.
Ooh.
Hey, Liz!
This little trailer.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Would you say that was a good ending that killed us, or?
So fun fact on this one, I played this game. When I played this game, I went through it the first time completely blind. I got the sub ending, and then I looked up what the other endings were to like how to get them. This is called the safe ending. Online, there is no context for what this means. It just said the safe ending, and
So,
I assumed
yep.
that it meant everybody got out alive, but you just didn't get all the answers you would get in the true ending. No, that's not the case.
Same.
Yeah.
When I first played the game, I got the sub ending too. And then I think I played one more time and got either the X or knife ending. Then I looked it up and I saw, hey, there's a safe ending. Let's go for that. That sounds nice.
Whoopsie.
But now we can do the other one again and do it right,
so,
right?
yeah, we have this key here where we're at right now, this little yellow key fob thing, and then if we look over here to the coffin, that lock is
Okay,
now
but
open.
why is that other path still say it's like got locks all over it? Is there still another ending besides that we have to do?
Oh, the white locks and the white keys?
Mm-hmm.
That's because we didn't choose those last time. But I think it works if we just go to the coffin ending
Yeah,
now,
I
because
think
that's the lock.
as long as we have that, I think we're okay.
So we needed to unlock that white lock to get to the coffin ending, but since we already got to the coffin ending before, we can just skip to it now.
Yeah, we should be.
Now we can do it right this time. Oh yeah, because we didn't have the whole thing with the bracelets changing before.
Mhm.
So there was no way that they could have gotten the
coffin open.
I understand now. All the pieces are falling into place.
Da da da.
Let's go. Oh yeah, because I remember literally thinking when we got this ending, I was like, oh, if they only had Snake, they could get out.
Yep. So just to recap this one, because it's been a hot minute since we've been over here. Santa basically pulled an ace, and instead of Ace holding Lotus at gunpoint, Santa held June at gunpoint, and he took Lotus through the door with
Ace,
them,
I
and
think.
Ace through the door with them. So now it's 7, Clover, and Junpei left here.
Yeah, in this timeline, Santa has the gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna skip through till we get to the spot that we were left at. Because we've technically been through this before, we just got to a stopping point.
Right.
Yeah, and if you did the safe ending first, then you wouldn't get the coffin ending. It would just go straight to
Oh.
what we're about to experience now. It's like, hey, you chose the right doors, but you're missing something else. Too bad.
I think I said this before, but I didn't know that it would just quote unquote give you the coffin ending if you got the safe and then the true ending in order.
Yeah.
And back in the DS version, you could not jump through the timeline, so I made sure to get the coffin ending because I wanted to have all of them, and then I went back into the safe ending, and then I went all the way back through this path again to get the true ending. So that was a bitch. And I did not know until like 7 years later that I didn't have to do that. So
Yeah, I think you played the game together with Elizabeth one time.
yeah, we played it back in
and
2021.
Yeah.
Or 2020.
And she told me, yeah, Kirsten didn't know that you don't have to get the coffin ending. And I told her, oh, she didn't know. How didn't she know?
Yeah, I didn't know. None of the walkthroughs I saw said anything about that. So, you know. Anyways, the world blinked.
Fair enough. I would have done the same thing, Kiki.
Thank you. Suddenly there was a voice inside of Junpei's head. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand.
Wait, what? What the hell was that? That voice?
Junpei was utterly and completely baffled.
Huh?
What's up?
7 and Clover ran over to him, but Junpei didn't know what to tell them.
Huh?
I like that the justification for this one, for him knowing what happened in the past, was just like, and then Junpei got a message from God.
Hi, Bree. Glad to manage to work on your tablet. Welcome in. If he told them he'd heard a voice, they'd laugh, or worse, think he was going insane. So all he said was...
Oh, nothing.
He cleared his throat a little too loud and looked pointedly down at his bracelet. There were a pair of small buttons protruding from either side of it. Junpei, he pressed the buttons. Do you remember the order?
Oh, sorry, it's right, left, so it's the third one.
Okay. Right, left, right, left, right, left. That was it.
Sick.
8 numbers blinked on and then off on the bracelet display. Junpei checked one last time. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1.
1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1.
Huh?
Huh?
Hey, what the hell were those numbers?
I have a theory, but I'm gonna drop it in the stream chat.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, are those?
Junpei didn't answer. He simply walked straight to the coffin. He knelt down in front of the keypad, running over the numbers in his head so that he wouldn't forget.
1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1.
With trembling fingers, he punched them in. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. That was all of them. He punched the E button. There was a moment of complete silence. Then there was the sound of the coffin lid unlatching. Someone sat up out of it.
No way! What? Why are you...
Oh? Is that you, Clover?
Yeah.
I apologize for worrying you. Snake!
Yes. Vindication. It better be for real this time.
Junpei? And 7? Is that you?
If I have to lose him one more time, I'm gonna lose it.
Just like Rip Van Winkle. Still, it was very much like Snake to simply cut to the heart of the matter and ask.
Jeez.
Junpei and Seven shared a wry smile. Clover's eyes were filled with tears.
You're back!
With a cry of joy, she leapt into Snake's arms. This is one of my favorite CGs in the whole game.
Gently now. My body's still a little weak.
Oh, you're back!
Clover looked like nothing so much as a lost child who had finally found her home. She cried and cried and cried. Her eyes were red and her nose was running. She hiccuped and gasped as if she were about to begin hyperventilating.
You're back! You're really here!
Her voice was happy but almost desperate, as if she feared he would disappear again if she stopped talking to him. Tear after tremendous tear rolled its way down her face. Her small arms strained as she clutched Snake's body as tightly as she could. Perhaps she had to convince herself he was real. Perhaps she was worried he would be gone the moment she let go. Perhaps she simply didn't know what else to do.
You're back!
Come now, what's gotten into you? You're acting as though I've returned from the grave.
Not as though! You did! I really thought you were dead!
Huh?
You jerk! Idiot! Idiot! Idiot!
Clover broke into sobs so great she could no longer talk. It was a touching reunion between brother and sister. Even though Junpei knew they had little time, and every minute they waited was a minute they wasted, it felt cruel to pull them apart. Junpei and Seven sat down on one of the pews, waiting for Clover to calm down, before explaining to Snake what had transpired. Hi, Kay!
I see. I believe I understand things rather well now, thank you. In the shower room, there is a dead body wearing my clothes. Because of that, you thought that I was dead, correct?
He had quickly and neatly summarized the events of several hours.
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
You also discovered a corpse in the captain's quarters, and Santa turned on you here, in this room. Do I have it straight?
Well, the dead body in the captain's quarters is a surprise.
Sorry, there wasn't a good time to tell you.
Don't worry about it.
Well then. I've got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but it's still something of a mystery who did all this, and why. The corpse in the shower room that looked like me, and the corpse in the captain's quarters. Why were they killed in the way they were?
You don't know?
No. Why would I?
The guy in the shower room. We don't know who he is, so let's just call him Mr. X. Anyway, this Mr. X is wearing Snake's clothes. But you're wearing some kind of weird robes. That means someone took your clothes and put them on Mr. X. We need to figure out who that was.
I apologize, but I have no idea who might have done this to me. I only just now woke up. I was unconscious during all the events you just described to me. They must have undressed me and changed my clothes during that time.
When were you knocked out?
When we split up to look for the red.
Where did they get you? Do you remember?
It was a small room in one of the hallways on C deck.
What happened?
The same thing that happened to every one of us when we were abducted. A canister releasing some sort of gas was thrown into the room. I believe the gas is some sort of incapacitating agent.
Then that means it was...
Zero.
Looks that way, huh?
There's nothing else I have to tell you. When I woke up, I was in this coffin.
Junpei crossed his arms in thought.
Why? Why did Zero make Mr. X wear Snake's clothes? How would that benefit Zero? I don't get it. What the hell does any of it mean? And I have no idea how I got the passcode for the coffin either. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Where did those words come from? Why did I feel compelled to push the buttons on the bracelet after hearing them?
Seven had asked him about it while they waited for Clover to finish crying. He'd had no answer for him then, and he still didn't.
All I know is my fingers moved on their own. It was like I did it subconsciously. I don't get it. What the hell does any of it mean?
His mind was a maelstrom of mysteries, clues, theories, and more mysteries. He could barely think.
Also, Snake and Clover had been subjects in a similar experiment 9 years ago.
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. And someone did actually die. A girl. Her name was...
There had been another experiment conducted on this same ship 9 years ago, and a girl had died during it. Morphogenetic field theory. The 2 murders. Switching clothes.
I don't know, Kay. It depends on how long it takes. We may stop when we get there. I'm not sure.
The nonary game.
And whatever strange thing was happening to Junpei himself. The maelstrom in his head spat out words and ideas that disappeared back into it almost as soon as he grasped them. But as he struggled through them, Junpei began to realize something. There was something that tied all of them together. And the point connecting the dots.
Zero. He's the ringleader. The person who trapped 9 of us on this sinking ship. Zero should know everything. If we can uncover Zero's identity, all of our questions will be answered.
Who was Zero? Junpei had the beginnings of a theory. If he could only test it. Or perhaps...
At any rate, we'll have plenty of time to decipher the details later. For now, it is of utmost importance that we escape. Junpei, it was 4:30 the last time you checked the clock, yes? That means we have less than an hour. We must hurry.
Hey, how are we gonna get out of here?
Isn't that obvious? Through the other number 9 door.
5 plus 4 plus 7 plus 2 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
Oh yeah, you're right. With Snake, we can open the door.
Don't tell me you hadn't figured that out.
As they sniped back and forth, Junpei glanced at Snake's left hand. He was wearing a bracelet with a 2 on it.
Come on, you gotta tell me these things.
I, assumed you'd figured it out.
Forget it. Let's just get going.
7 stomped off toward the smaller number 9 door. Clover, Snake, and Junpei followed. 7 quickly laid his hand on the red. An asterisk appeared on the screen. Junpei and the others followed suit and laid their hands on the scanner panel. Soon there were 4 asterisks on the screen. 7 glanced at them, then laid his hand on the lever of the red.
All right. You guys ready to go?
Yes.
Yep.
Junpei paused for a moment.
Not yet.
Huh?
Before we go in, I'd like to check something.
You want to check something?
Yeah, but before I do, 7, could you pull the lever? I want to make sure we can verify with just the 4 of us.
What do you mean? We don't need...
Just do it, alright? But if the door opens, don't go in yet, okay? Please, this is really important. I really need to check this, okay? Work with me here.
Junpei looked directly into 7's eyes. The older man looked back for a moment, then nodded.
Where is June at this point?
June is being held at gunpoint by Santa.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
Seven pulled down on the lever and door 9 creaked open. Then they waited. 6, 7, 8. After 9 seconds, the door closed.
Alright, that means the 4 of us can go into door 9.
Yeah, I don't know why I just had this thought.
I knew that.
But I literally just thought of the clown box with the, like, it's not supposed to go back in without a gift. Immediately I was like, something bad's gonna happen. Nobody went in there. I was like, this is a clown box. It's not these doors.
It needs an offering.
That's literally.
Yeah.
It was like such a gripping fear. I was like, they can't go in there without that. I was like, it's a freaking clown box.
Beautiful.
Now, what happens if we add Zero's bracelet?
What?
Zero's bracelet?
Why don't you take it out, Clover?
For a moment, Clover looked surprised, but she recovered quickly and stuck her tongue out at Junpei.
so you did know I had it. I picked it up because I thought it might be useful sometime.
She reached into one of the pockets of her voluminous jacket and produced a bracelet. Junpei took it from her and turned to Seven.
This was on the left hand of the corpse in the captain's quarters. If you look at it, you can see it's got a 0 on the face. Just to make this a little easier to talk about, I'm gonna call the guy we found dead in the captain's quarters, Cap. Then I should be able to open door 9 with just me, Clover, and his bracelet.
5 + 4 + 0 = 9.
Though the big question is, if Cap is the mastermind of this game, would he really put one of these bracelets on? Anyway, let's just give it a shot. Clover, give me your hand.
Okay.
Now the captain's bracelet. And pull the lever.
However, the door didn't open. The Red's display read error.
I knew it. Now, what does this tell us?
Maybe the bracelet has to be on your wrist in order for it to work?
No, that's impossible. Did you see how the panel showed a 3rd asterisk when I scanned Cap's bracelet? Whether or not it's on your wrist doesn't matter. All you have to do is put the bracelet near the panel for it to register.
Seven waved his bracelet in front of the scanner panel. Sure enough, a single asterisk appeared on the red.
Huh. Looks like you're right.
See? So what does that mean? There's only one possibility.
That bracelet isn't the number 0. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Then what number is it?
Let's find out.
Junpei scanned the bracelets with this combination.
Okay, well, if we know that it's 6, because I'm gonna assume that that hasn't changed.
Presumably.
Who did we use last time? Was it Snake Junpei in that one?
It was, I believe,
That's 2, 5, and
7 Junpei in that one, I think.
Oh, right. So let's just do that one right off the bat and save ourselves some time.
You don't want to check every single one?
Get all the dialogue
As tempting as it is, as tempting as it is to 100% the game, I'm okay if that's our 99.
7 plus Junpei = 7 plus 5 = 12. 1 plus 2 = 3.
If this combination opens the door, then Cap's bracelet is number 6.
Hey, it opened! The door opened!
What? Why? What does that mean?
Both Seven and Clover seemed rather shaken as they turned to look at Junpei for answers. The door slid heavily shut. Junpei raised an eyebrow.
Isn't it obvious? Cap's bracelet is number 6.
7, blah, 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 all that stuff we just read about earlier.
Doesn't it say 0?
This isn't a 0. The symbol on here isn't a number 0. It's a letter O.
Oh.
Whoa, wait a minute. I don't get it. I mean, we figured out that Cap's bracelet is 6, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean there are 2 people with 6s?
Before Junpei could answer, Snake spoke up.
There is most likely only one person with a 6.
But I don't get it. What about June?
Well, this is only an educated guess, but I think June's number was never 6 to begin with. Her bracelet was flipped. In other words, June's real number is
9.
That seems the most likely.
Then all this numbered door stuff was just a load of crap?
Why would you say that?
Because if June is 9, then the numbers wouldn't match up.
Clover grabbed Junpei's notebook and began to write furiously in it.
Here, look.
Junpei leaned over to look at it.
List of all the numbered doors June's gone through.
I'll let you know what I'm writing, okay, Snake? And that's everything. I wrote down which door she went into and with whom. And I wrote what all the numbers were. So if you switch 9 in wherever there's a 6, the numbers don't work. If the digital root is 7, then you can't open door 4. If the digital root is 2, then you can't open door 8.
Clover, do you notice anything interesting on that list?
What do you mean?
You're talking about 3, right?
3?
Santa's always in the room with her. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
What about it?
That's quite simple, really. You told me that the first time you came to this, Santa was the first to refuse to leave June behind. Now,
Hi,
doesn't
Erie.
that beg the question
Oh,
why?
hello.
Why would Santa do such a thing? The answer is easy. Because Santa can't open door 9 with only 7 in Lotus. Of course, there's only one reason for that. His number isn't actually 3. Santa's real number, 7? Would you be so kind as to modify my sister's equations?
Yeah, sure.
7 took the pen from a confused Clover and began to adjust her calculations.
This is what you were getting at, right, Snake?
He read out the changes he'd made. When he finished, he looked at Snake. Snake smiled.
Thank you. That is exactly right, 7. Santa's true number wasn't 3. It was 0.
No way. Santa is 0?
And June was 9, not 6. Conversely, Santa was 0, not 3. Plus 3 and minus 3, they cancel one another out. Nothing appears out of order.
Santa was still playing by the rules of the nonary game this whole time.
But that can't be right either, right? Because we've gone through other rooms with Santa where we would have needed a 3 without June.
We've only ever... So, doors that we've been through with Santa and or June. We've been through the room with the Funyarimpa and the kitchen. That was Santa, June, Lotus, and us. We've been through...
What about the times when we didn't go? Were they always together in every single route though?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what Clover was writing out there. Every time we've been through them, we've been with both of them together, and every time they've been out with
I just
separate
meant
of us.
I meant in like other routes that we had
Every
taken
single
too.
time.
There was okay, so
Yeah.
every single time.
Yep. Every
Well,
single
that
time.
sucks. My theory is somewhat
Precisely.
shot, I think.
Uh-oh.
So you're saying Santa planned this whole thing?
I'm not sure if he acted alone or not, but I think it is safe to conclude that he is 0. If my hypothesis is correct.
Clover bit her lip. She seemed to be having some difficulty believing her brother's explanation. Junpei remained silent and thought.
Snake's hypothesis. Something doesn't seem right. June's bracelet being flipped. Even if that were possible, that would mean there are 2 number 9 bracelets. And if that's the case...
All right, that's enough talking. Let's go. It's high time we went through that door.
Door 9 opened. They leapt through.
Oh, it's right there.
The dead was directly in front of them as they came through the door. Quickly, they scanned their bracelets. And the detonator stopped.
Oh,
After pausing for a moment to catch their collective breath, Junpei and his companions headed down the long hallway in front of them.
all right. Let's keep going.
At the end was a set of stairs leading down into the ship.
I think these stairs go to the bottom deck.
They leaned out and looked over the side.
Looks dry.
Let's head down.
After deciding it was safe, they headed down the stairs. Before long, Junpei and his companions found themselves on the bottom deck. They turned left into another hallway, at the end of which they found another door.
Hey, it's a...
And of course, there was a symbol engraved over the keyhole. It looked like the sort of harpoon one would use to hunt fish, the kind with 3 prongs. Snake traced the shape of it with his fingers.
This is the Neptune symbol. There must be a key around here somewhere.
Neptune key. I only have the Uranus key card.
Clearly, it wasn't going to open this door.
It's a different planet. Plus, it's the wrong kind of key.
Let's turn around and go back for now.
Yeah.
After examining the door for a few more minutes, they gave up and headed back the way they'd come.
Hey,
Didn't
another
they
door.
find the Neptune key in the cargo room with the gun?
No, that was a different one. I don't remember which key it was.
Dang it.
With a little more searching, they found a metal door.
And a card reader this time.
A symbol was engraved onto the card reader.
It's the Uranus symbol.
This is the place.
He muttered to himself and slid the card through the reader. It beeped once, and the light on it turned green. With a heavy metal groan, the door creaked open. Junpei, Clover, Snake, and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and stepped through. The room they found themselves in was full of books.
Wow! It's totally full of books!
There's so many. I don't know where to look.
It looked remarkably like a library. Not the sort of library where large numbers of people came to read books, more the sort of library that was simply a place to store books. He felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of books, but Junpei did his best to speak with authority. Same, Bree.
All right, if we want to get through that door out there, we need the Neptune key. I say we split up and look for it.
Okay.
Very well.
Sure thing.
Good. Let's get started then. We don't have a lot of time. Hurry.
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge.
I was wondering when we were going to talk about that again.
As he began his search, for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words float through his mind.
Junpei is experiencing divine intervention. Oh, don't make me find a way out. There's too many books.
So,
Don't worry, they're making you seek a way out. That's much different.
Yes, very different.
It's much better. Much better to seek than to find.
Indeed. So,
Son of a gun.
we can... I don't know what your time is like today. This is a whole ass escape room, and those take time. So, we can stop right here, or if you have a little bit of time, we can try to get through the escape room today.
Sorry, I'm yawning.
No, you're good.
We should probably call it here just
Okay.
because I have some family things I have to get to
Totally
today.
fair.
But if it was up to me,
Yeah, play it straight.
if it
through,
was
man.
if it was really up to me, we would have already finished the game a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time ago.
no mood.
So we would have just streamed for like 40 hours straight, and that would have just been it.
Honestly, that's kind of the ideal way to
Um,
experience this game, is in like a fever dream sequence of nonstop playing. It's kind of the way I played it the first time around. And I think it's ideal, but no, I understand completely. And I don't like
I love
starting
that.
in the escape room, because then it's harder to remember what you've done already. So
Right.
I would
Yeah.
rather stop here and then like not be lost when we return. Cool.
Sorry, I can't stop yawning. Yeah, that's that makes sense. That's fine.
No, totally.
I'm not bored. I'm just so tired. But
yeah. No, I understand. Binging games is way too easy to do. Agree, Bree. Agree. Okay, well, since we have a few minutes here before 2 o'clock, I just want to know, what are your thoughts so far? Now that you've seen another
Well-
ending and we're a good chunk of the way through this one.
well, I don't know if you saw my message in the
Oh, yeah,
stream
yeah,
chat
let me
or
look at
not.
that
I don't know if that's something I should share or not. I guess I can share it out loud if we feel like that's okay to share out loud. But
I don't see why it wouldn't be okay to share.
Yeah, I mean,
just,
it's just a
wanted to
theory.
double check.
It's just a theory, so you can drop that in there.
See, my thought, right, is like naturally June would be the person that we should suspect the least, or like that we would suspect the least, which makes me feel like maybe then we should be suspecting her. But then on top of that, like originally thought that her bracelet, the 0 bracelet has to be a 6 because we used it in the other one and it was a 6. And they couldn't have gotten out with a 9 for that one. So her bracelet just has to be a 6, but I don't know how that makes sense everywhere else unless she like switched, unless she was using the 0 bracelet at some point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess I don't totally understand unless maybe if she was able to change the I don't know. There's too much stealing of bracelets and people using different bracelets, so I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. But I just feel like the fact that we thought it was a 0, it's actually a 6. I don't know. And then, like I said, like the thing with that last ending, that they couldn't find Santa anywhere, but then she just magically shows up in that room, and then as soon as Junpei runs away, she's just gone. And then what was the other thing that I said? Oh, like with her fever thing. Her fever always comes at like a time when they could leave somebody behind with her. And I think that's happened twice now, where they left her behind with somebody, and then they come back and the other person's just gone. So I'm like, I realized she also got killed in that one ending, but I feel like that ending, then somebody else must have just killed, like someone else must have lost their mind and just started killing people. It wasn't, because that's kind of what happened with the Axe ending too, right? Like Clover just went nuts and killed everybody, so it wasn't like.
Yeah. So who do
Wasn't
you
like
think
that was
killed everyone
planned.
in the submarine ending?
Well, that's what I don't know. I also don't remember everyone that died. Like, I feel like it maybe would have been like Santa or.
I think we saw
In the
everybody's
submarine
bodies.
ending, we saw everyone.
Everyone?
dying on the
Everyone's
ground.
no idea.
bodies,
Yeah.
And then we were killed ourselves.
Yeah.
We were supposedly
Maybe it
the
was
last one.
the guy in the captain's quarters. I don't know. But they keep saying like Zero is someone that was with them, and you got that other ending, and Zero is like, I've been right next to you the whole time. So I don't know.
What my
And
my
I have a feeling we'll know at the end of this, but
Why did Zero say
that was
she
my
lost?
that was my question was what do you think Zero meant by I have lost?
maybe just because
Fair enough.
I don't know. I don't know. There's too many. I'm not that smart.
No.
I'm smart enough to figure out the puzzles, but I haven't had the galaxy brain like, I'm connecting all the dots.
Just don't feel bad if you don't get the plot. Like Yosh and I were talking about this before the stream. You can be the smartest person in the world and you can get like 90% of an Uchikoshi game, but there will always be 10% that you don't see coming. And sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. But there will always be 10% that you will just not be able to predict. So don't feel bad if you can't.
Well, and here's the other thing that I don't understand, right, is like every other character besides Junpei and June, we know, well, and I guess in the Ninth Man we don't know, but like everybody else we know why they're there because they were involved in the first Nonary games in some way.
Okay.
Like even Lotus was the mom of like 2 of the kids that were there, so it's like everybody else was involved in it in some way. And this is totally disregarding the Ninth Man, so this might not be true either. But it's like, then why would June and Junpei be there if they weren't involved in it at all?
Gotcha.
I don't know, but then I'm like, why would she bring him there if she likes it? I don't know.
Fair enough.
Also, if I can remind you of one thing, when you went into door 3 that one time, and Junpei tricked Seven and June into verifying their numbers on the verification device, he was like, yeah, it's a 9 now. Now either Santa or Lotus and Clover can enter the room with us. Santa made a mad dash for the door, presumably now because he knew that it wouldn't work if...
Yeah. If that hypothesis is true,
Lotus and Clover scanned it.
if they
because
really
they're
don't have
different
the
numbers.
right, if they really don't have the right numbers, and that had happened, the jig would have been up. If that is the case.
That's true.
It would explain Santa's behavior because he was like, really...
He was so
like,
pissed at Junpei.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, then I guess at the very least the 2 of them are in cahoots, but then again, I still don't know why.
You think they're
I
in
don't know.
cahoots, or do you think that, like, one of them's being, like, held at, kidnapped family or something, maybe?
See,
Literally
I
had a
don't
gunpoint.
know,
Yeah.
because I feel like... I don't know. So a little part of me still trusts Snake, and I never trusted Ace. Like, I always knew he was sketch.
I think that's
From day
fake.
one, right?
That's
that was my...
Bea is a fan of revisionist history, I see.
What? From day one, I was like, he's sketchy.
That is not true.
Did I
That is
think
not
on the
true.
First day,
That
did I
is
say I trusted him?
yes. From the
Yes.
first day, we were like, "Who do you like?" And you
Mm.
were like, "I think Ace is nice. He's trustworthy. He's like a grandpa." And we
Oh,
were
never
all
mind then.
in our secret ZE
I thought it was from
chat
day
in the
one.
server. We're laughing so hard about that because we were all like, "Fuck, the first person she trusts is the awful guy."
Okay, but then I feel like at least the second time,
You did start
'cause
to.
I switched up pretty fast. Where all of a sudden I was just like, I don't know, he just seems creepy. I don't know
Yeah.
when, but I feel like it was a pretty fast turnaround on him. Here's what I know: the only person I can trust is Snake.
Fair enough.
Don't laugh at me. That's all I'm sticking with it. Even if he's 0, I'll be like, well, he was right, so it's whatever. Fine.
I support Snake's wrongs.
Yes. Yes, 100% Snake's wrongs defender. That's me.
That's a good point, Neo.
Yeah.
Man. Lotus also did drag Clover, so I guess that's fair. Lotus was also booking it, so you know it's not the most compelling evidence, but if you want to look at it that way, you can. What are your thoughts on the safe ending?
Yes, Flora, I could not agree more.
Yes.
See, that's the thing too, right? So like he got gassed or whatever. But that was like right after June disappeared, and then it didn't actually say that he died, it's just assumed that you didn't escape.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I mean, I guess you could assume
Indeed,
then that
Flora.
he died if nobody escaped, but like
I mean,
don't know.
they did mention that it was starting to flood, so
Yeah.
oh yeah, good point.
So they could have all drowned.
But
He-
then
he probably
whoever
drowned.
but then whoever zero was gassed him, and so he died when he was unconscious, right? He didn't just die horribly.
Yeah, presumably.
He was unconscious.
The game could have
makes
just
And the
chosen
fact
not
that
to
Zero's
show
like
us.
that they lost, like maybe it was like June was hoping to save him, and then she realized she couldn't save him, so she had to kill him. I don't know. I'm just really sticking with the June theory because it's the only one that makes. It doesn't make any sense. I'm just gonna stick with it for now until I'm proven wrong, which I'm sure I will be at some point, or you guys are quietly laughing at me. But either way,
Hey, nothing wrong with
Just
having a
gonna stick
theory and
with that.
sticking to it.
that's unless it's just wrong and I go into it with that mindset. But like I want to trust her. She's nice, but I'm like it's just I can't get over like why are she and Junpei there? And I guess to some extent, well, no, because they said that the ninth man knew who he was, so he must have been involved in the OG Nonary games in some way too.
That is possible. That is possible.
But then again, like where did June and Junpei fall into that? Because as far as I'm aware, neither of them were involved in that, or at the very least Junpei wasn't, because he had no idea what it was. I don't know. It's very suspect, is all I have to say.
Well, fair enough.
Suspicious.
Well, thank you for sharing your theories. I always like to pick your brain after, especially after we get big things like that. So, I know it's confusing, but I promise answers will become clear eventually.
I fully believe you, and I'm excited for that day. So
The last chunk is pretty long, so I might consider proposing doing like a long Saturday stream or something one of these days, just to finish it up so we get it in one big chunk.
yeah, that would work.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'll let you know.
Yeah,
'cause
absolutely.
It's fun to kind of just get it all done. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
think
love
doing,
to like finish
doing
it
the rest
in
of
one.
doing the rest of the game in one big stream would probably work.
yeah, cool. So we'll coordinate that and see how it works. So
Sweet.
But thank you for joining us today, Bea, Yosh, everybody in
Thank
the
you
chat.
for hosting.
Yes, it was so
Thank you
much
everybody
fun.
for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to me scream when Snake came back.
Like you said, vindication. Cool. Well, thanks so much, and I'm not gonna rate anybody. I don't really have time to stick around after this, so I'm not gonna rate anybody. But thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you guys in like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.